Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice sunny, actually Thursday morning over here. Had a bit of a funny interaction yesterday because I found out that the coffee that I thought that I was drinking was actually decaf for like the past couple months. So that maybe explains some of the lack of energy as of recent. But you know what? It was a good little reset, and I actually really look forwards to my first real cup, hopefully soon. Anyway, just as an aside, those like decaffeinated caffeine thingy or coffee thingies, really awful when you look into it as far as the ingredients that go in there. Anyways, today rather boring. I do expect that today is going to be more or less a day of ranging, as tomorrow we have a big economic event that's going to be the CPI release, which I suspect will move markets as usual and probably give us the impetus for perhaps a break of this overall range. So I do want to talk about the severity of the move that we're likely looking at from the break of this range in a statistical manner, and then come at, well, the overall range itself. So with that in mind, I do want to, let's just move on into it right now. So I want to start off with the fun stuff right off the bat here. So daily BBWP, specifically for CME, I do believe, now that I've backtested it more than spot price action, has a better overall read on things. There's been 8 iterations where we have seen daily BBWP below 10 percentile, and the expansion phase from that, as I have tested out, has led to an average move about 23.63%, and that was, pretty damn consistent right there. Also, the average days from the expansion to the general effect of the move takes about an average of just over 13 days, and the stochastic direction or the stochastic momentum direction, I should say, has gone the correct direction about 75% of the time. So with that in mind, I do think that it's time to be looking at it yet again, because we do have an impetus tomorrow, and likely wherever the daily stochastic momentum oscillator is on that day, assuming that we do get a range break, is very likely to be the next direction. So if we do play around with numbers, just kind of, basing off of this basically $30,000-ish number, we can say that to the upside on that average expansion, that'll still put Bitcoin, somewhere actually above $35,000, closer to 37 to 38,000 bucks, which is rather interesting because that would be a little bit over from what we saw on the CME gap, although, close enough is close enough in this case. And then also that would be around the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, or maybe actually the 618, which I should check out over here. Or whoops, it's right there, about the 618, or hovering around about 38,000 bucks. So somewhere in that pocket is probably where I'd be looking towards. And if we do see it to the upside, of course, to the downside, that would still bring Bitcoin likely back down, I'm going to guess, to our current lows, a little bit lower than that, actually, about 24,000 bucks. So I'll start to put Bitcoin, basically on new lows from this region. And I do want to reiterate my stance on the overall picture for Bitcoin. Obviously I have no fucking crystal ball, and I have no idea what's going to happen from here until we actually get the move and a confirmed range break. But my overall thoughts are, we have not seen the low just yet, or at least if Bitcoin has put in the low, we very likely see Bitcoin retest somewhere reasonably close to the low based off the accumulation distribution indicator that we've been speaking about over the weekend, especially, and at the beginning of last week. Anyways, other than that, where else did I want to go with this one? Yes, my point is that whether Bitcoin puts in a bear market rally somewhere in the mid, maybe deep $30,000 territory, or topples on over from here, I think it's kind of irrelevant. If you are more long-term, I do think that Bitcoin very likely to either retest the lows again, or maybe make slightly new, or maybe full-on new lows. Anyways, we'll get to that bridge when we cross it, I suppose. But until then, we can kind of play around with the same tools before. We haven't really got too many interesting things in the last 24 hours that already hasn't been really spoken about. So I'll just run through this right here. And on the lower term timeframes for CME, it does look like, if I did have to call this right now, probably Bitcoin retests around the bottom side of the range here, perhaps intraday, but I don't feel too compelled by these thoughts. I certainly wouldn't trade off that, and I have no plans to really trade, especially in the middle of a range like this right now, as I just don't feel like there's a humongous edge. But yeah, if I did have to call it right now, do things, maybe more than likely come to the downside here than the upside in terms of ranges? Perhaps yes, but as far as I'm concerned, again, in the middle of the range, no edge. And if I look at the hourly, we got bullish divergence, so it's going to the moon. No, these are not the ones that I typically want to be looking for. I want to be looking for them a lot more in the bearish controls, on those ones that typically have a good hit rate of playing out in a predictable manner. Anyways, in this case, see what the 4-hour looks like right now. A little bit more downside angled here, phantom drive of bearish divergence, but certainly not a death sense or anything like that. Daily, we do still have potential hidden bearish divergence forming here. However, it has not been confirmed. What would confirm it? We need to confirm this as a local high. You know, if you're more aggressive, you might say that yesterday did confirm it. It did close above 30,000 bucks, which is kind of where I would be looking towards. I think the obvious area where I confirm this as a local high, thus confirming that hidden bearish divergence, would be below the 6th of June low, which is 29,820 on CME. At that point, yes, I'd be looking for another retest of the bottom blue box over here. But again, the range is, as the range has been, which is about 30, let's see, about, well, let's actually go down to a lower term time frame for this one. About 32 and change to the upside versus about 28.9 to the downside, at minimum on a 4-hour closure, preferably a higher term time frame, because we likely are looking for a big move based off of this. As far as stochastic momentum goes over here, do we have anything to be aware of right now? Daily stochastic momentum is angled to the downside. So to address this chart over here, as of right now, if we were to see expansion, the more likely direction would be to the downside, obviously. I don't think that this is not a signal that I'm fully convinced of just yet, even though I do think that there are some other things that do suggest some downside as well. But the stochastic direction has gotten the correct direction for the move 75% of the time. So not perfect, but pretty damn good. 3 out of 4 times, good enough, at least in my opinion. And we will continue to see downside daily stochastic pressure as long as Bitcoin's closing below 30,500 on CME. So obviously that keep Bitcoin below the range highs, but ultimately I really don't think that we're going to see this range break at least until tomorrow when that CPI data comes out. Until then, it's probably going to be sideways and boring. It might even be that I don't even do a live stream tomorrow and just do a regular video like this, because I suspect, things are still in the same range. Like, just going to be it's just going to be too mind-numbing, man. Anyways, other than that, we can run through some of the other time frames over here. 12-hour is also angled down as long as Bitcoin's below 31.5. 6-hour is also somewhat angled down here as long as Bitcoin's below 30,450. 4-hour is going to be showing downside below 30,350, but again, it's like right in the middle of the range, not very strong, not very weak. 3-hour is showing 30,550 for the pivot, and hourly is going to be showing upside. Hey, there we go. That one looked good. 30,082 going to be the notch number right there. So again, I'm not really seeing anything that's like super obvious right now. I know that people are going to be at the end of the day, once we get a resolution of this, like, I called it, I knew this was going to happen. I'm not going to be one of those people. I know how to play this myself, but I'm not interested in like calling a fucking direction exactly from here. It is a weird thing though, just in the back of my mind's eye, if I am just kind of speaking offhand here, I do think just it would look better for the market. It would, not that this has to happen. This is not analysis. This is not a trading plan. This is not anything other than just a silly, stupid opinion, but it would make a lot more sense to me to pump up first and then dump down later, just because, people need hopium again. Like, if you just dump it from here, there's going to be too much to spare. Like, you're not going to have anyone to basically buy the dirty pieces, if you do that again. Just personal opinion, but hey, what do I know on that? I'm not a long-term trader anyways. Let's go check out the funny rates, which have been hilariously accurate as of recent, and even they're not really giving much of an edge right now at 0.1%, basically neutral as far as I'm concerned. So, if this was kind of what we saw yesterday, it would be easy to call a downside move to the bottom of the range. If it was like we saw on the 7th of June, then it'd be very easy to call an upside move to the top side of the range. But at the end of the day, man, nothing extremely obvious right here. So for me, this is a good indication that I should probably go outside today and make use of my time elsewhere. Anyways, other than that, I do want to show my Instagram really quickly here. One, because I want to make sure that people understand there's a bunch of scammers on Instagram with similar accounts to mine. I can assure you the only account that I have is in the link in the description below. Also, we've been doing some fun stuff over there, just just chatting it up. I think we're going to do maybe a live tomorrow with a little crypto simps episode perhaps there. And maybe some Q&As along the way as well, because we did one the other day and it's actually really fun, and just an easy way to kind of shoot the shit, especially during the more slow times. So if that interests you, you are more than welcome to check that out. Also, we got a Bybit shill link as well. As always, when it comes to leverage trading, when it comes to any trading at all, I strongly suggest do not fucking trade unless if you have already, done your homework, which means creating your strategy in these, which you can use the strategy checklist template, which I have here on YouTube for 100% free. And then also backtesting that strategy, which you can do also for free, like on pen and paper or on Excel or in the Krown trading application journal over here, which is also free for its base functionality. So there you go. And it has it all kind of baked in for you as well. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to cut it off today. Rather boring day. I expect that we do see this market continue to deleverage a little bit coming into tomorrow's event. It is interesting to see the leverage ratio actually take its biggest dump since a while, actually since May, in fact. So with that in mind, I think that mostly today is going to be waiting, and then tomorrow we get some fun action, very likely around US sessions. So hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully I see you soon. Take care.